Driven people become more driven when they have adversity. They become more driven when they have success. They want more. They know exactly where they want to go, exactly how they're going to get there, exactly who they want to go on that journey with, other driven people. They know what they need to do each and every day to achieve what they want to achieve. We built a room full of driven guys. That's why you're here.
It's week number 12 of this National Football League season, and welcome to the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones alongside Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios here at the Star in Frisco. It's the Cowboys and the New England Patriots. A 3:25 kickoff Texas time. The Patriots come in at 9-1. Cowboys, after winning last week in Detroit, at 6-4. And you know, this is a matchup that happens once every 4 years. There have been a couple of constants through the last 20 years. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, of course, on the Patriots side. Jason Witten on the Cowboys side. It probably doesn't take much to get your team ready to play against the Patriots, does it?
Well, obviously, they're a great team. You know, what they've done over the last 20 years compares favorably with any dynasty in any sport. Their level of excellence is unparalleled in our league, and you know, it starts with those two guys, Coach Belichick and Tom Brady. They're probably individually the best at what they do in the history of our game, and certainly as a duo, they're unmatched. So it'll be a great challenge for our football team.
And over the years, you've developed a relationship with Coach Belichick, huh?
Yeah, and he's been really generous and gracious with me. Obviously, tremendous amount of respect for him as a coach, everything he's done, and you know, he's been really good to me. Certainly a mentor in so many ways, and again, nothing but great respect for him.
All right, so many superlatives anyone can say about Tom Brady. What is it, though, that would you put up there at number one as far as why Tom Brady is who he is?
You know, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to his mental toughness. I mean, he's a fantastic player on every front. He's big. He's probably a little more athletic than people give him credit for. He's got a really good arm. He's incredibly accurate. His timing, anticipation, instincts, vision, feel for the game, off the charts. You don't play at the level that he's played at for all these years if you don't have those traits. But at the end of it, I think it's his mental toughness. Somehow, some way, he gets himself to a place where he's always at his best, and he always seems to get the job done regardless of what the circumstances are. And if you look at their teams over the last 20 years, they've won a lot of different ways. Early on, it was more defense, and then it became kind of a passing team, and then it's getting their running backs involved, and now it's back to the defense and all of that. But you know, the constant has been him, always giving their team a chance to win, and I think it goes back to how tough he is mentally. He always performs at a high level.
When you look at your defense matched up against this Patriots offense this year, there's been a different cast of characters around him week to week, it seems like, on offense this year. But what's the big thing that your defense needs to focus on this week?
Again, so many of the same things we talk about every week. You know, you want to make them one-dimensional. You want to stop the run. They have a couple different runners they use. They try to run the ball different ways. So we just have to be on the screws. We've got to be fundamentally sound and disciplined. Got to be a great tackling team. And then hopefully you make them one-dimensional. Now that dimension we're talking about is Tom Brady in the passing game. But, you know, hopefully that gives your defensive lineman an opportunity to rush them. You know, our guys outside a chance to guard them and make them uncomfortable.
Even though they have different players at his disposal, different weapons. Julian Edelman is a guy that's been there for several years now, and how much of a challenge is Edelman?
Yeah, you know, he's been a constant in the recent generation of Patriots, and you know, certainly a go-to guy, and you know, one of those guys that can really do everything. He plays outside, he plays inside. You see him running a variety of routes, and you know, we're talking about Brady's mental toughness. Edelman's mental toughness is on par with anybody's, and he's such a great competitor. Always seems to come up big in big situations, and Brady certainly loves throwing him the football.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Jason Garrett Show. Up next, it's David Moore, the Dallas Morning News.
The Jason Garrett Show is brought to you by AT&T. Ford is the best in Texas. The University of North Texas, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Welcome back to the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com. Let's talk about the identity of the Cowboys offense. Is this now a passing offense, David?
Well, again, it's certainly being portrayed that way, and there's this narrative that there's been a passing of the torch from Ezekiel Elliott to Dak Prescott as far as the central figure in this offense. They're undeniably passing more now than they ever have with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott together. I mean, going into this New England game, for the last 6 games, Dak Prescott has attempted 40 or more pass attempts. That didn't happen in the first 3 years that they were together. So they're moving toward that. But the whole idea that once you pass a torch, the other guy never gets to touch it again, I think is a little disingenuous. You always constantly hear Jason Garrett talking about balance. Well, true balance is if you need to throw 40 to 45 times to win a game, you can do that and be successful at it. But if you need to run 40 to 45 times to win a game, you can do that as well. Now, I think there's been some erosion in the run game this season, but this thing is a pendulum that is going to swing back toward the run game more than it's been these last 2 weeks.
Sounds like you finally listened in one of the coach's press conferences this past week.
Well, he admonished me for that. So.
Yes, he did. All right, this New England game, okay, there's been so much criticism about losing to the Jets. Can they make up for the Jets' loss if they go to New England and win?
You can make up for that if you win out. I will say, this is the last game on the regular season schedule for the Cowboys that I think would really alter the perception of who the Cowboys are outside of the building and build a confidence and a swagger inside of the building that currently isn't here. This is the only win the rest of the way that can do that. Now, much like New Orleans did, that New Orleans victory did last year at about the same time. And I'd actually go back to the rookie year of Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. When they won in Seattle early that season, I think it established who that team was, and the perception of them was altered inside and outside the building. So to me, this is that sort of game with the proviso, if somehow they did win up there, and no team in the last 20 games in Foxborough has won other than New England, if they did that, the prerequisite, you would have to follow up with a win on Thanksgiving Day and keep it going from there.
You got 10 seconds to tell me whether Michael Bennett is motivated to beat New England this weekend.
He says he's not. Nothing is personal in the NFL, but of course he is.
All right, David Moore, we appreciate it. And up next here on the Jason Garrett Show, Chido Awuzie.
That, everything that we do, it's about us, making sure our techniques, our schemes are correct, and we gave up a lot of stuff on defense. So, as a whole, I don't think we had a particularly great game, but we did enough to win.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Welcome back to the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones inside the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios here at the Star in Frisco. It's the Cowboys and the Patriots, and our featured player of the week this week, cornerback Chidobe Awuzie.
Oh, the brotherhood's wonderful. I wouldn't want to be on any other secondary unit. The guys we have right now and how close we've gotten, it's kind of been something built throughout the years. We've had guys come in and come out, but the guys that's been here and the guys that we've added in the past year or two, it's all been great. We've been talking to each other off the field, hanging out with each other, laughing all the time. It's very easy going. It kind of just makes you go out there and want to, play for those guys. I always, in my head, I think of, Byron, Jordan, Jeff, X, CJ, Donovan, Alumba, DT, everybody, the other Donovan. I think of everybody really on that field, and that's what gives me strength to play at a high position because I know they got my back, and I hope they know I got theirs. So, it's lovely to be in that unit.
1st and 10, snap back to Driscoll, looking to the right sideline, breaking up. Awuzie.
A short memory for a DB is very important, and especially at the corner position. A lot of guys think of a lockdown corner, shutdown corner, doesn't give up any passes, but they do. And I think the best thing that those guys do, or those guys that strive to be those guys, is they forget about the play before and they come back the next play and try to make a play on the ball. So having that short-term memory enables you to do that. Right before a play, I'm thinking of stay on top, number one, stay on top, stay on top, stay on top, stay on top. And then number two, whatever play we have, their formation, especially if we're playing our zones, I'm trying to diagnose the receivers' alignments, the quarterback, whether he's in gun, how far the back is from the quarterback. It's a lot of things that you process so quickly that you try to piece together before the play to anticipate and then make plays.
Driscoll back, sets, looks, throws a slant, broken up. Awuzie got that one.
I think the Lions game was it just happened to be that game where, I was really doing a lot of self-reflection before the week and realizing what I needed to do to help the team win. And also, just really realizing it's not just about me, it's about my brothers. So if I don't show up, if I'm not mentally right, if I'm just thinking about myself, then we wouldn't have had a good game. So I think that was the main thing that helped me have a decent game against the Lions.
Prescott stands back, going deep, going for it all, incomplete. Tavon Austin had to play defensive back that time.
My favorite play by far was Tavon hitting the ball out of the DB's hand. I went up to him after that play. I was like, that was the play of the game. And, it just gave us a lot of momentum and saved a lot of our momentum that we had. Because if they would have got that pick, in this game, momentum always swings. So it was pretty important to keep that momentum at that point. And Tavon did that made me happy, seeing him become a DB. He's been watching us a lot. So what drives me is this football thing. It's a platform to me. Really, I play for God's glory. That's number one. I've been through a lot of tough spots in my career, high school, college, NFL, and the one thing that's stayed consistent is God and what He does for me in my life, and the situations He puts me in and brings me through. So that's number one. And then second is playing for family, the family on this team, and the family I have back at home. I know they look up to me. I know they wish for me. I have a strong support system on this team and at home, so they give me a lot of strength to go out there and compete.
Our thanks to Cheeto. And up next here on the Jason Garrett Show, Will McClay joins the show. We take a look at the #1 rated defense in the NFL, the New England Patriots. We're inside the film room with Will McClay, taking a look at this New England Patriots defense ranked #1 in the National Football League.
Yeah, they're very good against the pass. They're very good against the run. They're #1 on third down conversions, and they're #1 turning the ball over. And it starts with playing run defense. They got a mantra, do your job. We were look at, they're against Buffalo. They're in their base 3-4 defense. The way to attack it is to run weak side is kind of the way you're supposed to do it. So what they're going to do here is they're going to try and block down, and they're going to have a puller to come and try and kick out the linebacker. But what's going to happen is they have the mantra, do your job. 70 will defeat his guy, and then you look at a great job by Collins to set the edge of the defense, and there's nowhere to run. Okay? Now, that job by Collins right there, compressing the lane, and then 70 defeating his guy, there's nowhere to run.
Here's against Carson Wentz.
All right? Now they're going to affect you with pressure. What they do a good job of is their linebackers are good pass rushers, and they have big, strong guys inside. But they mug the A-gaps, what affects the protection. So they're going to rush. That's a one-on-one there. That's a one-on-one there. The linebackers are going to run a pick game. They want to try and get on the running back. But what's key to this is they're going to run a game here, but Van Noy does his job, and he stays long enough. He's going to spy, but he stays over here long enough to attract the attention of the guard and increase that space where the linebackers are coming through. All right, you see the man coverage, he's going man. Now, there's your pick. It's him on the back, but 70 never sees the inside to help the running back. So great design by them.
You got a linebacker on a running back, and you get to the quarterback. So how do you beat them in the passing game?
They're going to give you opportunities. I think when you have weapons, they're going to go, and this is man coverage. It's man on man right here, and you got a single high safety. Well, what you got to do is you have to win your one-on-ones, and you have to hit them. You'll see there's a matchup I think they like. It's Golden Tate on their slot corner with a single high safety leaning over there. He's just going to run a go. Daniel throws a strike, and we get the great catch here by Tate on a one-on-one. He wins. He's got him. He's even. He's leaving. Great throw, great catch. and then a big play.
All right.
Take advantage of those.
Will McClay, we appreciate it. That's it from here in the film room. Here's what the Cowboys have to say about these Patriots.
When that team doesn't make very many mistakes, you really have to be able to capitalize on the ones that they do, and then you also have to be able to sometimes win a bone-on-bone battle. So I think that's what makes them the best.
When you're going into games, it's about execution, finding a way to execute your offense regardless of the opponent. Not get lost in what they do so much, but stick to what we do and be who we are and go out and play like we know how to play. This game doesn't change depending on who the opponent is. You just got to dial into what they do systematically and be able to go out and make the plays and make the most of the opportunities.
And they're a very good team. They're very sound. They're always in their gap, don't make many mistakes. But I mean, it just comes down. So like I said, every week us going out there executing our game plan and giving ourselves the best chance.
And now Coach Garrett rejoins us. Will McClay looking at this New England defense ranked #1 in the National Football League for a variety of reasons. One at the top of the list might be takeaways. They've got 28 takeaways on the season, including 19 interceptions, which is a pretty incredible mark.
Yeah, it's remarkable. You think about through 10 games, you have 28 takeaways and 19 interceptions, and you're plus 18 on the turnover ratio. It's going to give you a great chance to win a lot of football games. But, oftentimes those turnovers start from what you're doing up front. They got a really good defensive line. They're very active, both in the run game and affecting the quarterback. A lot of different linebackers playing in different spots. So they're really active up front. They make the opposing offenses uncomfortable, and the guys in the back end just do a great job going to get the football.
It's pretty fascinating to see what they're doing defensively and the versatility that they have, especially in their linebacking core. They got a bunch of guys like a Dante Hightower, a Jamie Collins, a Kyle Van Noy who can play linebacker or they can rush the passer. And so what does that do to an offense?
It challenges you because you don't know what they're going to do, and they stand up. They put their hand down. They line up over here. They line up over there. They get up in the A gap. So they challenge you with their alignments. They challenge you with the identification of who's going to be a rusher, who's going to be a cover guy every snap. And then you add that to their athleticism and their athletic ability across the board. It can really challenge every time the ball is snapped.
Dak Prescott, the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after passing for 444 yards last week. Even his evolution during the course of this season, where have you seen him gone from day one through now the 11th game of the season?
Yeah, we emphasize trying to get better every day and get better every week, and I don't know that there's a better example on our team than Dak, and that's coming from a guy who started as a rookie and won 13 games for us. So, he's been a really good player for a long time around here, and he just continues to work on every aspect of his game to get better and to refine his skills. And I think you're seeing that in the results that he has on Sundays. And he's got a real command of our offense and what we want to do. He's playing with conviction. He's very decisive. The guys around him are making plays. The protection was outstanding last week. The receivers, tight ends, and backs all made plays. But Dak's the guy is where it starts, and he's done a heck of a job for us.
And Michael Gallup, one of those guys. We talk a lot about the progress that a player makes from year 1 to year 2 in the league. He was pretty good in year 1 and even better here in year 2.
Yeah, Michael's done an excellent job. And you said it. I thought he got better and better over the course of his first year. He played his best football at the end of the year and had a good offseason and came back and really has kept it up. And a number of plays in the game the other day, big-time plays that changed the game. And he's been doing that all year long for us.
All right, we're going to wrap up the Jason Garrett Show in just a moment. I'm going to have a surprise Unsung Star of the Week.
Wow.
Come back in just a moment. Final couple of minutes here of the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy, as we get you set for the Cowboys and the Patriots. At this time every week, I have my Unsung Star of the Week, who's not unsung inside the walls of the Star here. And I'm going with 3 unsung stars this week.
Wow.
And they have multiple Pro Bowls between them. So you're thinking, how can they be unsung? Well, they're your 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen: Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Zach Martin. And I say that because each week, we don't really talk about them. I know behind the scenes here, you talk about them all the time, but they are the heart and soul of your team, so they are my unsung stars of this week.
Yeah, and that's a great selection, and they certainly are sung. They've been recognized, within our team and league-wide for their accomplishments, but they do such an amazing job setting the tone for our entire football team. And, when we started building this team, it starts with the offensive line and the defensive line. That's how you win football games in this league. We believe you'll never see your skill fully develop if you don't win the game on the offense and defensive line. So those guys have been cornerstone players for us They're great practice players. They're great in the meeting room. They're great in the walkthrough. And they're certainly great on Sundays. And again, they set the tone. They lead their team really like none other. And, they deserve to be sung. They do a hell of a job.
And when you get off the bus, whether it's in New England or anywhere else, you feel pretty good when those three get off the bus with you.
Absolutely.
Right?
You want them on your side.
All right, Jason, we appreciate it. Good luck in New England against the Patriots. We appreciate you joining us as well. And we will see you again next week on The Jason Garrett Show.
The Jason Garrett Show was brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.